Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Greg. I'm going to go over the S&P 500, the whole thing, just because some folks asked me about the end of the grand super cycle. You keep hearing that a little bit more because the bears are out and all the negative news that's going on in the world, and that must be the signals that it's the end. Probably once the end comes, guys, my guess is it's going to be swift and sharp and take most everybody by surprise. Kind of like that right there. And just wham. That's probably what will happen, in my opinion. So I wanted to go over this, put this together for you, okay? And let you guys know that, in my opinion, it's not the end of the grand super cycle, and the S&P 500 has a ways to go. But over in this area, okay, over in this area, I'll go over that area that it's in right now, okay? Not right now, but after I'm all done here. So the reason, one of the things is that the S&P 500, if you take a look at it over the course of since 1871, can you believe this chart goes back to 1871, guys? The S&P 500 is notorious for having massive fifth waves. You can see it right in the chart. There's two really good examples. There's one right here during the roaring 20s. Remember that time? Al Capone's and all those people are out, right? Look at that. Wham, bam, it went up. Then you have a third wave in the midst of it, okay? And they're in the midst of it's a fourth wave, and there's the first wave. And this right here is your fifth wave. Your 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for your third, fourth triangle, and wham. So you're not going through such bad times if you want to compare it. Like, look over here, guys. Here's a correction that went on from 1881 all the way to 1896. I guess if you can throw some shorts in back then, you'd be okay. And then it went sideways from what is this? The 1900 to 1920. Wow, that does not sound like fun if you were in the market back then. I guess if you're a trader, man. I guess if you're a trader back then, but it wasn't much going on back there, guys, you know. And by the way, some people say diagonals are not that common. Well, SP 500 is pretty common. And look what it did in the beginning. It made a diagonal. So there you go with the whole diagonal theory, right? So here we go with the SP 500. So the fifth waves are notoriously blow-offs. And this is a fifth wave right here of the third wave. And now it's in a fifth wave. Normally, if you want to find the end of the whole big cycle like this, you're required to have the fifth of the fifth of the fifth. So 3 5s, the 5 of the 5 of the 5. And right now, we don't have a 5 of a 5 of a 5. You have a 1 of a 5. You have wave 1. Missing is 3, 4, and 5. Okay? 3 and 5 is what's missing. But of course, right now you're in wave 1. In my opinion, you're in the second wave of wave 1 of the grand super cycle fifth wave, and you're going to go into a third once this is done. And then you're going to go into a fourth wave that probably will be pretty brutal and be something like this right here. It won't be like this, but it'll be probably something like that. Sideways for that went sideways for 1865 to 74, 11 years, no, 9 years, right? So a 9-year sideways ordeal, probably somewhere in the future. Now, the other thing is too, is normally the fifth wave is going to be about as long as the first wave. So what I'm going to do is I'll take the days over here of this wave, this long dragged out first wave, right? It's 21,000 days. No, excuse me. Is that 20? Yeah, 21,000 days. Okay. So I'm going to go over here and start at the bottom of that fourth wave. And I'm going to go half the time. I'm going to go 10,000 days. Here is 10,000 days, right about there. Okay. Right in that area. So that's the year 2036. So just give you an idea what's going on in there. Now, the S&P 500 is a little bit different than the NASDAQ. It does do sharp wave 2 corrections. And on its fourth wave corrections, it did come lower. So, I talk about this on the NASDAQ, guys. You know how the NASDAQ came down and went up, and its wave over here didn't break that area there. So it's a little bit more bullish. That's a bullish sign, actually, guys. This is a little bit more, if you will, bearish, even though it's bullish, if you know what I mean. So here's this wave, and you can see it did a nice little 3-wave move. A nice deep, probably 1-to-1 3-wave move right there, or like an ABC correction off the first wave. So it wouldn't be unreasonable to think that something up here would happen with the S&P 500. Now, now, for the time being, I'm bullish on it. So it's going up and to the right, probably till September, October. I don't think it's going to be quite as bullish. Obviously, I don't think it's going to be quite as bullish as the NASDAQ. I think the NASDAQ's going to have a correction and continue to melt up some. I guess it's going to depend on some of the bigger stocks and what's going on there, but remains to be seen. But you want to be aware of that a lot of people are so sure that that's the bottom. I am not so sure that that is the bottom. Okay, so what I'm saying with the S&P 500 could happen here, guys, is that, excuse me, you could go up, maybe get that supply right in that area, and then the S&P 500 could do something like that. It very well could, guys. Okay, it's done it before. All right, and then the NASDAQ, as an example, just like over here, I mean, it hasn't done it recently, but back here it did do it off of that. This is the first wave of the third wave. Okay, first wave of the third wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which, by the way, that would be another diagonal, because the fourth went in the price territory of wave 1. So, another diagonal right here, that all the time. Diagonals are not that common. Another wedge, a diagonal, whatever you want to call it, and a 3-wave move back. So now we're in the 5th wave. So here's the 3rd wave, here's the 4th wave, and now we're in this 5th wave, and it could very well do something like that. So then on the NASDAQ, it would be a different story where, let me go to the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ, I actually think you have a good shot. It's going to go up, and it's probably just going to correct to this area, back down to this area like it usually likes to do, kind of like this in that area, because it's so bullish, because all the technology that's in it. And the S&P 500, I'm not saying it's going to go that low, guys. I'm just giving you an example of like a ABC swing. But the S&P 500 has like weaker, if you will, times weaker stocks and stuff in there. Like the bank stocks drag the NASDAQ down. That's why it's not melting them up as much as the NASDAQ is with all the tech stocks. So that's probably could happen with the S&P 500. So that's my take on it, guys. I wanted to go over that. That's what I think. That's what I'm very, very confident of. And when this is all said and done, you'll probably have something that looks kind of like, something like that with the S&P 500, somewhere in that area. Who knows? 2036, 2040, 2046. Who knows how long this is going to go on? But here is a 5th wave blow off. Here's a 5th wave blow off. I'm going to probably assume that the S&P 500 is going to have another one over here. So it'll probably be something like, here's the first wave. Let's say this is the 2nd wave, and here's the 3rd wave that's going to be longer than that one. So that's going to go out for a while, right? And then you're going to have some correction like this. You're going to have something like bump, bump, bump that's going to last for like 10 years. And then when it's done there, you're going to have something that's probably going to go kind of like this and just freaking go up like that is what's going to end up happening. More than likely. More than likely. We should all be around. Well, let me see. What date was I on? 2054? Yeah, we should all still be around by then. We should all still be around by then, I think. So that's probably what I think is going to happen. I don't think it's ended right there, guys. I don't think you're going to have one of these mega drops with the S&P 500, okay? But I do think the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ are going to be going up. So I went over the NASDAQ with you guys here too. I put this on a video, and the NASDAQ, I have the moving averages, the 9, the 21, and the 40, like moved out, like the trend that they're on, and just kind of get an idea, because I know they're going to start rolling over potentially. And it did come up to a good supply zone, and it hit it. It could start rolling over at this time. Typical hit that. And what I would look for is it's going to go through the 9. Okay. It's going to go through the 9 more than likely and come down and probably hit the 40 at least. That's what you want to see for the NASDAQ to be bullish. Okay. So it'll come through there and might correct back down to the 9. Now it can still, if it's a big, huge correction, it might pop back up and then come back down to the 40 and still go off like that. So hit the 40 there. I just show you an example, like what the NASDAQ does when it's bullish, guys. You can see, when it comes out, those lines start getting in order, and it goes through a correction, goes through the 9 and the 21, hits the 40, hits the 40, hits the 40, goes back up. You see how they go in order? In some instances, if there's a bad correction, obviously like this one right here, it goes through all the moving averages, came down, hit the 200. Okay, so the 200 is going to be going right through there too, guys. So it's probably going to get, even if it goes to that area, it'll still have a lot of support at the 200 and the 40. The 200 be right there, guys. So that's what I would suspect, if the NASDAQ is going to continue to go up, which I do think you have a good shot. The NASDAQ and everything that I'm checking out is that it's going to continue to trend up. Right now is the time I look at September, October, and we're in June. We have June, probably for a correction in the NASDAQ, more than likely. I know I keep saying that and it doesn't do it, right? Every time I say it's going to do a correction, it keeps going up. It did hit a fair value gap, I think, or a supply zone. So I'm thinking very good area of interest for it to do a correction and then start coming back down for the month of June, maybe some of July. However long this one took is probably about the same amount of time. So then it's got July, August, September, 3 months, possibly 4 months. And it could go on beyond that, but it's very hard to go out farther than that. You know what I'm saying? Anything beyond like 3 months is huge speculation. 3 months is speculation. And then beyond that is even more speculation. But if that's going to happen with the NASDAQ, it's going to be in a correction and then it can continue to melt up. Well, Bitcoin can do the same thing too, guys. And I'm looking at Bitcoin, and what it's going to do is I'm actually looking at this target right here for Bitcoin, just under 25K. I got the 40, how I think it's going to, trend out, maybe something like that, or it might turn over a little bit more for Bitcoin. But I definitely think it's going to be coming through the 21 period moving average and get down to this demand zone and probably hit the 40 period moving average. Is definitely an area of interest I think is really, really good for Bitcoin. Now it is crypto, and it can go bump, bump and pop back up or something like that, possibly, to do a flush out. But these horizontal lines that I have are serious support lines that I've gone through all the way back over here through various time frames. Monthly, I go through the monthly, I go through the weekly, monthly, 2 week, weekly, daily, and just go down and find the areas that I think are very, very important for Bitcoin. So it has massive support there, and also here too. Okay, all the way down through those areas. So that's what I think is going on with Bitcoin. And then to go over Ethereum, I think Ethereum is a lot stronger than Bitcoin, guys. Let me go to Ethereum here on a weekly chart. And that I don't think it's going to correct quite as much. You can see with Ethereum that it has all this support back here. I went over this wave up and then this correction back down, and now a wave up and it's over in this area. It just doesn't seem like Ethereum really wants to correct too much. And all in this area had a lot of interest. Seemed like maybe some bigger buyers, not retail traders, people that have smaller bags like you and me, they're going in there buying that, even though that they are, but like bigger players are in there doing that. And it didn't even hit the 9 period moving average. And then it has a 200 right there. And then this 40, I don't think it's going to touch the 40. I think it's going to get sandwiched between the 9 and the 200 and be possibly in this area. And you can look at targets maybe down to 1660, 1650 potentially, but not really much lower than that, guys. And Ethereum, I do think, is probably in this pattern right here. Okay, if you check this pattern out, and let me take off the MAs real quick. This pattern that I think is Ethereum that's going to go up. This whole area is a massive supply zone for Ethereum, so it's going to get stuck there, bounce its head on that, and if it gets through that into a good wave, then it's going to, in my opinion, be going up to my target of about 5,400, and it's in this pattern because this wave right here is so here's a third wave, but you can see this wave is more, it's more like a diagonal wave to me, so like the third wave of it just went beyond 1-to-1. Normally you're looking for 1.618 logarithmic. It didn't do it. The fifth wave didn't even go up to 1.618. So it's more like like it's in this pattern right here, guys. You know, it made a move, boom, boom, you know, hit the trend there, there. Okay. And at the bottom here, and then it's over here, and it's just going along this trend. I think, boom, you're going to have a shot right up there to for a top out on Ethereum. I wouldn't be surprised if Ethereum breaks all-time highs and Bitcoin just goes near all-time highs or just below all-time highs or something like that. I would not be surprised to see something like that. So that's how I'm looking at that, guys. I think it looks pretty good. It's really strong. And then just going through some of the altcoins I was posting on Twitter that you, like I said before, not to say that they can't go down a little bit more, but in my opinion, a lot of the altcoins are bottoming out, guys. In my opinion, you know, they don't look that bad at all. So you might have a shot over the next month of June, maybe in early July, for Bitcoin to suss itself out, and you might have a shot at some of these other coins or Bitcoin or Ethereum. And after that, those that don't bite, they could get left behind, in my opinion. If you made it all the way to the end, do me a huge favor, drop a like, hit the subscribe button. Peace.